So today's session we'll see what are the different types of operators that are available in VBA for us. So I'll just list them for you and we'll start working on them with example. The different types of operators are arithmetic operators, comparison operators, logical operators, and concatenation operators. So these are the operators that are available to us in VBA. Now let's see how to use them within the program. See, before that, I'll just tell you what are the operators that you get within this arithmetic operators. So let's say, so you use plus, minus, divide, multiply. So you also have something known as mod and caret. So this is for exponentiation. So these are the different operators that we have in VBA. Okay, so this different arithmetic operators that are available to us. So let's just give some space here. Yes. And the same manner, you also have comparison operators. So for this again, you have greater than, less than, greater than or equal to, less than or equal to, not equal to, equal to. So these are the different comparison operators that we have. Let's say logical operators. So again, we have and, or, not, and XOR operator. I'll be explaining them to you in detail and with an example for each of them. And we also have concatenation operators over here. One of them is and the other is plus. These are the two different concatenation operators that you could be using in VBA. Now, let me show you how to use them in your program. Let's go to the VB editor. I'm going to insert a module over here. I'll just name this module as operators. So here, let's say using arithmetic operators. So for this, I'll start a macro. I'll just say arithmetic operation. I require two variables over here so that I can provide some numbers. See, these arithmetic operators can, for this I need to provide operands in the form of numbers. Only then it is going to work. So I'm going to declare two variables here, which will be the operands for the operators that we use here. And let's go here. I'll just say dim. I'll say int num1 as integer, and I'll take another variable dim int num2 as integer again. Now I would like to display the result as well. or you could be just directly using it in the message box also, however you wish to. See, I'll go here, I'll just use message box. So here I'll say addition. Now even before I give this, see, I will concatenate int num1 plus. So this is the plus operator I'm trying to show you. Int num2. We also have this concatenation operator over here. I have used it by default, but anyways, I'll be showing that in the other program also. Okay, so here I'm trying to perform addition. So even before I do that, I need to provide values to these two variables. I'll just do that. Int num1. I'm going to use input box in this case so that at the time of execution, I can provide different values. Enter num1 value and enter num2 value. Just give this. Now I want to display the addition. Let's say in the same way I would like to see subtraction, multiplication, division, modulus operator, that is, it is going to return me remainder after the integer division. So let's say, and I also want to see the exponentiation. Now let me modify this. Subtraction. Now this one, I'll just change it to minus. And this should be multiplication. And here I'll change it to into. So this one is division. I'll change this to slash. And for mod operator, I'll use mod here. And I'll give exponentiation. So to the power of, so whichever number you provide. Exponentiation. Now I'll just give very simple numbers so that we can calculate it mentally and verify whether the results are correct. I'll start running it. Say I provide number 3 as first value and 7, or let's say 2, as the second value. So addition result is 5, subtraction 3 minus 2 is 1. So multiplication 3 into 2 is 6, division 3 divided by 2 is 1.5. That's being displayed here. Modulus again. So when you divide 3 by 2, the remainder that appears is 1, because 2 cannot divide the 3 value completely. It will leave a remainder. The remainder value is 1. And 3 to the power of, so I haven't changed the symbol here. I have to provide caret. So let's say I'll comment this block just to see only the result of exponentiation. If I run it, I'll again get the same values. So 3 to the power of 2 has 9 here. Now let's say I'll again unblock this. So uncomment this block. See, we did not see any space after this. I would like to see a colon and space so that there is some difference in the result and the label that I provide. So while concatenating, you need to take care of these things. Again, I'll run this. So this time I'll use 5 and 9. See, 5 plus 9 is 14. 5 minus 9 is minus 4. 5 nines 45. So 5 divided by 9. So you get some decimal value like this. Modulus. So when you divide 5 by 9, so it is obviously, so you cannot divide it completely. You will have a remainder of 5 again. And this is the 5 to the power of 9 value. So you can use these arithmetic operators in case you have some calculation to be performed in VBA. Now let me show you other operators. So comparison operators. I'll just take the same here. So here I'll change this to comparison operation. This should be within the macro. I'll just provide this. Now, so suppose if I take two numbers, I would like to compare the numbers that I have taken, and I would like to print the result for it. Now let me go here. See, I want to give this dim, I'll take another variable over here, dim result as integer again. Oh, sorry, this should be Boolean value. See, when you have comparison to perform, now let's say I'm going to check whether number 1 is equal to number 2. If it is not equal, it is going to give me false as the answer. If it is equal, it should give me true as the answer. To store these true or false value, we have a separate data type. Now that data type is known as Boolean. Okay, and let me show you here. Let's go, I'll just say result is equal to, now if I say num1 is equal to num2. So message box, I would like to print result. I'll just keep changing the operator to see what will be the result over here. And let's run this. I have used wrong variable names, so I am just correcting it now. Run it again. See, num1, I'll give 4, I'll give 9. So of course they are not equal, so it will give me false as the answer. Now if I give a value that are equal, let's say 23 and 23 again, it's going to give me true as the answer. So this comparison value is used for that sake. Now let's use the less than symbol over here. So we are checking whether number 1 is less than number 2. So 23 and 65. Of course 23 is less than 65. So it's going to give me true as the answer. Again, I'll just change the less than or equal to. Even if it is equal to, it should give me the true as the result. Say 23 and 23 again. So even then it is going to give me true as the answer, because I have used both, whether it is less than or equal to. It is trying to compare both the parameters. Likewise, you could be using not equal to, greater than or equal to, or only equal to. So you could be using these comparison operators and check it. Let me show you not equal to, because I don't think you would have explored it. Not equal to will check whether these two numbers are different. say 1, 2, 3 and some other number. Okay, I have given a huge number. It throws overflow error when you try to give a number exceeding the capacity of this data type. So these two are not equal. I gave 1, 2, 3 for number 1 and 2, 3 for number 2. These two are not equal. So you get to see true there. Yes, they are not equal. So true will be the answer. So these are the comparison operators. Again, they are very simple. Now logical operators. I'll take the same example again. Now the logical operators, as I said, AND operator. Let's see how this works. AND function is used when you have to check two conditions, and only if those two conditions give you true as the answer, and will result into true. So it is saying how many ever number of conditions you are using. All those conditions should evaluate to true in order for AND to give you the result as true. Now let's say I'll change this to logical operation, and I'll use the same thing over here. What we'll do is, so I'll compare like this. Int num1 greater than 100 and int num1 again less than, or let's say int num2 is less than 50. Only if these two conditions evaluate to true, then the result will be true. Otherwise, no. See, I should provide a number in number 1 greater than 100, and for number 2 I should provide a number which is less than 50. Only then the result of this will become true as the answer. So let's see. I'll just run it. Say 456, this is greater than 100, and I'll give 32. See, it gives me true as the answer only because those two conditions evaluated to true. Even if either of them fails, it is not going to execute. I mean to say, it is going to provide false as the result, not exactly the meaning as not going to execute. And let's say I'll give a value more than 100 for num1, but more than 50 number 2. So it gives me false again. So even if either of them fails, and will always result into false. Now let me give OR here. OR is going to give you an option here. See, the first option, the first condition, either the first condition should be true or your second condition should be true in order to get the result as true for OR operation. And let me run this. See, I'll deliberately give a value less than 100 for number 1. I'll just say 54. And for number 2, so this should be less than 50. So I'll give 34. So it gives me true. At least one of the conditions is true here. So it is going to give me true as the answer. Now what is not then? I'll just use not before it. Not of the answer of OR. See, not is used to negate the result of any other operation. Now suppose OR is resulting in true for me. If I use not, it will make it false. If OR is resulting in false for me, not will make it true. See, according to the two conditions that I have provided, I should be using a number greater than 100 for number 1 and less than 50 for number 2 in order for all to give me true as the result. Now let's say I give these values. So for number 1, I'll just give 45. This is the first condition will fail here because it's not greater than 100. Second condition, it should be less than 50. I give 67. This also fails the second condition, but we get true as the result because we have used not function there. Not function will reverse the result, or we call it negation or negate the result the expression is providing us. Now what is XOR in that matter? I'll just show you how XOR works. XOR and OR, there is one major difference. See, OR will result in true if any one of them is going to give me true as the answer, not both of them. XOR is going to give me that way. See, it is going to give me true as the answer only if one of the conditions is true. But in OR, it is not like that. First condition is true, second condition is true, OR will result in true. First condition is false, second condition is true, again OR will result in true. So again, first condition is true, second condition is false, OR will result in true again. But XOR is not like that. XOR expects you to give the input in such a way that only one of these conditions will be true, not both of them. Okay, now let me run this. I'll give a value greater than 100 here, and I'll give a value less than 50 also. You see, it will give me false as the answer because XOR expects you to keep only one condition as true. So let's say I'll run this again. Now this time I'll give more than 100 over here and more than 50, which is violating the second condition. It gives me true as the answer because only one of the options was true here. So that's the use of this XOR operation. It exclusively expects you to keep only one condition as true. Only if one of the condition evaluates to true, XOR will result in true. Otherwise, it's always false for any other combination. So these are the things that you have to keep in mind uh, when you're using logical operation. Okay, so next, say sub. So this time, let me show you concatenation using ampersand. So ampersand is a concatenation operator. You saw that here in one of the message box results. You saw here in the previous programs. See, we concatenated the result with the text over here. So we have used this. So I'm going to show you the same over here. I'll just go here. I'll just say message box concatenate. Let's say I want to provide some text here. So text has to be typed in double quotes. Welcome to ampersand. I'll just say VBA class. So again, these two are text values only. Now when I run it, these two will combine. You can see there is no space in between. These two are two separate strings that we try to concatenate. Join them. If I give a space over here, and now I'll run it. You see, there is a space there. Now this is fine with text. Now suppose I want to concatenate with a number. I'll use again ampersand. So this time I'll say 9. And I give a space after this. And let me run it. You see, even the numbers get concatenated along with the strings. Now what if number and number is used? Let me show you that also. Message box you see, if I type any number and I use a concatenation operator, I can give some other number here. I need to use space. Now if I run it, just give me a second, guys. And let me keep it in variables. That would be much easier. Rather than giving them directly, I'll just use it here. Say dim num1 as integer and num2 as integer, let's say, and I'll give values to num1 as 54 and num2 as 76. Now I want to concatenate these two numbers using concatenation operator. Now suppose I'll run this. See, 5476. You get it this way. Now we also use this plus symbol instead of ampersand. You could also be using a plus symbol to concatenate. Now let me show you the same example using plus symbol, how it works. So even plus is considered to be concatenation operator here, but not with numbers. So the result will be totally different. Now instead of ampersand, I'll use plus. You see what happens. I run it. See, it gives me the addition of those two numbers instead of concatenating it. This is a type mismatch because I've used a number along with the text over here. It's trying to add that number to the text. See, you could be using a plus symbol also to concatenate text values only. So don't use this plus symbol with numbers. It will try to add it and give you the result. So these are the operators that are available to us in VBA, and we also saw how to use them with examples. So now that we are done with the operators, I'll show you how to use conditional statements in VBA. Now let's add this. I'll add a separate module here. So I'll rename it as conditional statements. So there are some special provisions in VBA to check the conditions and execute a block of code. Now that you know that you know pretty much basic programming, now we are going to a bit by bit increase the complexity. So these conditional statements are used whenever you have a condition to check before you execute. You want some conditions to be met even before those line of codes are executed. Only if the condition evaluates to true, you are going to execute it. Let's say you have something like this, then you can always go for the if conditions, the conditional statements that are available in VBA. So there are many different types. I'll give you the syntax. I'll give the example where that particular if condition can be used. See, there are different types here. In which scenario, what type has to be used should be decided by you here carefully. So I'll be explaining that. Just observe. See the syntax for the first type. The first type is known as if then. If then statement. See this if then statement has to be provided like this. You should begin with if. You need to provide your condition, and you again use this then. After this, you are going to provide the statement that needs to be executed. Now whatever I have enclosed in the square brackets, you should consider providing, you are going to provide those values. So if and then are the keywords over here. Now this particular condition is used when you have a single condition to check and only a single statement to be executed after checking that. Only in that scenario you're going to choose this type of if then statement. Okay, you need to choose this only when you have a single statement to execute after checking a single condition, and the statement will be executed only if the condition evaluates to true. And let me write a program. I'll just say if one, if type 1, and here I'll declare a variable dim int x as integer. X is a variable. I use this to store some value in it. Let me take this input box, and I want to so int x value has to be taken using input box. Enter x value. Now after I get this, I want to check if int x is greater than 50 or not. I want to check it. If it is true, then I want to display in a message box. Let's say int x, this is the variable value. I want to concatenate it with a text. Let's say int x is greater than 50. This is what I want to display. I'm taking very simple examples over here. See, we missed an if then over here. So that's the reason you're getting those errors. So let me run this. Enter x value. I'll give 23. This is not greater than 50, so it will not execute this line at all. So this message box will never pop up until and unless you provide a value to x which satisfies the condition that you have given. Now let me run it again. So this time I'll say 100. 100 is greater than 50. You immediately get a message box. So it's not confined to this message box statement. It could be anything that you want to do. And that anything should be a single statement only. Only one instruction can be performed here. Now fine, if you have multiple instructions to perform after checking a single condition, so that is known as if then block statement, if then ElseEndIf statement. Now let me show you that. You begin with if, you provide a condition, say then, and you provide the statements. Later you'll end it with end if. So this statement, how exactly it works, let's see. See, you're going to take the same thing. I'm going to give the statements over here. So this is multiple statements that I want to provide. So this will be a block of statements. Not a single statement like before. These will be the block of statements, and that block should end with endif like this. So this is the syntax. And let me show you with the same example that we took previously. I'll be just showing you how it works. Now, instead of using a message box to display this, I would like to print this in-text value onto a cell and make it bold if it is greater than 50. I want to print it in B10 and make it bold and also increase its font size to, let's say, 40. So these are the multiple statements. See, first of all, you're printing it in B10 of sheet 1 range. So I'll say B10 value should be equal to whatever is stored in in-text. And this will be printed only if it is greater than 50. Okay, so now I'll just use another line here in the beginning to clear this cell value. That's because whenever I change the value of in-text, and if it is not greater than 50, nothing should be displayed in that cell. So for that, what I'll do, I'll just say clear. So clear will clear everything, contents, formats, everything. So we have seen these in the basic programs. So now you can see whatever you have used in your basic programs. So simple VBA macros that I taught to you. So we are using that over here. So you will be piling those things. You will be utilizing those lines to achieve greater things here. A little more complex things can be achieved using this. So why am I using it? So that any previous value that was printed there on the sheet should be cleared even before I print it freshly. That happens only when the condition is true. Okay, so let me give this. It should be printed in text value. And next, I also want to change its font style to bold. Let's say I'll just give font dot bold equals true. This will make it bold. I also want to change the font size of it. Font dot size, I'll make it 40. Now all these lines will execute only if the number that I provide will be greater than 50. Now let's check that. I'll run this. So I'll enter a value 98. This is definitely greater than 50. Let's see the output here. See, the font size is 40. It is made bold and it is printed over here. Now suppose the next time I'll give a value less than 50. Let's see what happens. I'll just run this. So this time I'll give 11. This is definitely less than 50. So there should not be any number displayed there. You saw this? This happens only when you give clear. See, what is it trying to do? Only if the value you have provided is satisfying the condition, it gets displayed in a specific way. If it is not satisfying the condition, nothing should be displayed. So even the previous value should not be there. For that, we have cleared it. Now, let me take you to the next level of it. See, in the first two types, whatever you saw, we are using single condition, and the statement or statements, a block of statements, are executed only if the condition evaluates to true. Nowhere we are taking care of this false evaluation. So if it is false, so none of these lines will execute and it will just skip that and it will stop the macro. Now suppose I also have something to do with the false evaluation. Now let me show you that. We call it if then else end of statement. I'll just take the same example here. So here you will have else end of statement. So what happens if the first condition, the condition that you have provided, is true? if it evaluates to true, the first set of statements that you provide, that is the true block statement, will execute. If not, this is known as the false block of statements. When the condition evaluates to false, this block should execute. When the condition evaluates to true, the first block should execute. So that's what we are trying to do here. Now, along with the same thing, whatever we have written here, I'll just add else part. And over here, if this condition fails, if the value is less than 50, you see, along with this changing to bold and size as 40, I want to play around with the color as well. Now let me give this. I want to change the color of this to VB green. This is one way of giving color to it. You could also provide here as VB red. Now let's run this. So I'm using the same cell address again. See, I'll enter X value. See, if I enter a value greater than 50, it should show me in green. Let's give that. See, check the result. It is greater than 50, so it will show me in green font. Now go back. So this time I'll run this macro again. And I'll provide a value which is less than 50. Let's say 25. Now this should be displaying me in red. So you could perform such things using the else if and if else if statement, if else end if statement. Okay, so we have the next type will include the multiple condition if statement. I'll continue this in the next session. Okay, I'll stop right here. If you have any queries, you can ask me, Rajesh. I'll stop the session here.